Vote no, vote yes, marijuana, abortion. How many ads have you seen about Amendments 3 and 4 in Florida? One thing is for sure, you might be sick of all of it, but who spent more money? Let's bring in now our political analyst, John Daly. He's given us some numbers to take a look at, so thank you for these. So this is total spending, yes and no. Marijuana Amendment 3, $151 million, abortion, $93 million. More for the marijuana amendment. Who's behind all this money?
Yeah, I mean, a big reason why that spending on Amendment 3 is so high is because a huge amount of money put into that referendum on the vote yes side from the companies that are involved in Florida's medical marijuana industry and are hoping to be involved in its recreational marijuana industry.
Let's dig in a little bit more now to this marijuana amendment. Vote yes, they spent $81 million. Vote no, $69 million. So more here for the vote yes side. But for both sides, there's some state money involved, and there things get a bit gray.
Yeah, I mean, there has been some controversy about the state taxpayer money that's been used to fight Amendment 3 and Amendment 4 as well. That controversy is probably going to continue even after today's vote. Some estimates are as high as $50 million of state money that has been spent fighting both of these amendments.
And let's dig into Amendment 4, the abortion amendment. Vote yes, $60 million spent there. To vote no, $32 million. But when you add all of these up on both amendments now, that's $244 million spent to try to persuade you to vote yes or no on marijuana or abortion. So, John, you've been studying these things for years.
Yeah.
Is it worth it, all that money?
Oh, this is a historic number in Florida in terms of spending on ballot initiatives. And in the country this year, it's the second highest number, second only to California. Personally, I'm doubtful on these kind of issues that are very personal and people have very strong feelings that any amount of advertising is changing people's minds on an issue as personal as abortion.
Well, as we know, it takes 60% to pass. We'll see what happens tonight. So let's keep talking about this. And I want to look back at some of the amendments in Florida, going back now to 2016. Now, this is not this year. This is 2016. Right. And we all remember when marijuana was on the ballot the first time. This was medical marijuana. And tell us about what you see here. You were giving us these numbers.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that it's really extremely hard to get these amendments on the ballot in Florida. It takes some tremendous work collecting petitions and signatures and so forth. Once they're on the ballot, and especially if they have significant financial backing, they tend to pass in Florida. We all know the medical marijuana back in 2016 passed by a substantial margin. Getting 71% in any election is incredibly difficult.
And more money spent on the yes campaign than the no campaign.
Right.
And then we can go now to 2018. Again, this is not this year. This is 2018. The gambling amendment. We remember all the ads about that. Vote yes again. They won. They spent the most money, 46 to 16 million.
Yeah, again, once it's on the ballot, voters tend to approve it unless it's something just really egregious or controversial. Getting 71% is extremely difficult. So the chances, again, looking at today, the amendments on today's ballot, it's a pretty good chance that they are going to pass. Both of them have significant funding behind them.
So let's talk about the impact of amendments on the election. We all know this is supposed to be a razor-thin election with Harris and Trump. And I've heard some theorists say, well, this was a ploy or this was a strategy by the Democrats to get amendments having to do with abortion this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not coincidence that some of these amendments that draw out specific groups of voters are put on the same ballot where there's a presidential contest or other important races. There's no doubt that Democrats are happy that recreational marijuana and abortion are both on the Florida ballot. Those are amendments that will bring out large number of young voters who don't normally vote but are very interested in these issues.
Now, you said Florida, but Iowa is already case in point, because I got a push alert on my phone a couple days ago that, oh my gosh, it said Ruby Red Iowa is apparently going for Harris.
Well, there's a recent poll that came out this weekend showing Iowa is in play. There's some question about, how much you can believe that poll. But there are 10 states this cycle that have abortion as a ballot question on their agenda. And I think in all those states, you're going to see unusually high turnout among young voters, among women voters, because of those issues, particularly abortion.
And so we're just going to have to see what happens. But when we're talking about passing an amendment, it's a serious vote. I've heard some people go, well, I didn't really, except for the ads you see on marijuana and on abortion, but the other one's like, oh, I didn't know what to vote on that, so I just did this or this. But this is like super glue. I mean, once these things are on the Constitution as part of that, of the 200-year history of Florida, we've had, what, 144 amendments or something. You're really stuck with those for a long time. You can't just pull them out.
And there has been some serious talk about making it more difficult. There's some crazy stuff that voters have approved through ballot initiatives to put into the Florida Constitution. And there has been a lot of discussion in Tallahassee about the need to make it a lot harder to put these amendments on the ballot. But then again, the other side of that argument is some of these issues, if left to the legislators in Tallahassee, may never be passed, or voters may never have a say in it. An issue like abortion would probably never be put up in front of the voters unless it were through a ballot initiative like this.
And so we'll just have to see what happens now. Do you think we're going to know the results within, what would you predict, 9 or 10 o'clock, or will it go on past that?
Florida is one of those states where you expect results in pretty quickly. I think the Secretary of State in Florida came out this morning and said that we'd all have results in Florida by our bedtime, whatever that is. So I do expect results in Florida pretty quickly tonight. We'll get the absentee ballots around 7 or 8 o'clock. And we'll know early voting, and then the rest will come in. If history shows, it'll come in pretty quickly after that. I think most of the results in Florida will be in before 11 o'clock.
So we will see. So John, thank you so much. John Daigle with Daigle Creative. You've been looking at this scene, studying the behaviors of voters and doing this research for many, many decades, and we're glad that you're here. All right, thank you, John.